Hey, what's up guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my Maine Mariners Road to Glory series here in FHM5, the main event. In this episode, we finish up our first regular season, perhaps our first season in general, if we miss out on the playoffs. We left the last episode with the question of what to do with this team heading toward the deadline. Of course, standings-wise, we are currently in a playoff spot, but not by a hell of a lot. As you can see, it's going to be a very close race, and having looked at the team, it was unfortunately Hannu Toivonen with that sub-900 save percentage, and Colin Stevens, who weren't exactly getting it done. There's nothing we can do about moving Stevens off the roster, but we can use Toivonen to try and get a deal done, more than likely using one of our extra defensemen. So let's take a look, shall we, at one of the two goalies, if not both of the goalies that we're going to be looking at here. Of course, it mainly came down to, I wish it was Kasky Swo, but it came down to a couple of different options, and I can't help but think it wasn't Wilcox I meant to click on. I can't help but think that Adam Carlson is going to be the guy. Now, his numbers in the prior few seasons, a little bit hit or miss. It's his first season, at least closing in on being his first season as a starter. He had played 23 games with South Carolina not all that long ago. Let's be honest, it was quite a while ago. But I think he might be the guy because he is going to be relatively cheap. Now, he doesn't perform well in big games, which is unfortunate. He's a little better than Colin Stevens. He might only be a little bit better than Colin Stevens in terms of skill level, but in terms of the way he's playing right now, night and day, that Adam Carlson would be a half-decent option. So I guess the question is, just how expensive would he be? Well, let's take a look here. Mariners players, we have, of course, Hannu Toivonen that we can add to the deal. They will never accept this offer. Boy, you don't say. I wonder why, though. Come on, it's okay, right? We don't have the rights to any players, unfortunately. Of course, there aren't any draft picks to try and get anything done. So we are going to have to use an extra defenseman, more than likely, as mentioned. And unfortunately, I love that some players are out on vacation. Good call. Unfortunately, it's more than likely going to have to be Tolkien or Savage, if either are even valuable enough to make something happen. Tolkien has 2 points in 10 games this season. Savage has he has 5 points in 35 games, minus 11. If we add Savage, I don't think they'll accept him. Not being able to use draft picks or anything to make this happen is extremely problematic. And to be honest, I might not be able to get Carlson here. There's a decent chance that we're going to fall short. And again, it's due to the lack of players that we actually have on roster. What about Derek Pratt? I don't think we're going to be able to get Carlson. And if we can't get a goaltending improvement here, we're going to be in a decent amount of trouble. Sam Britton was under contract. Who was the other one? It was Cheveldave, wasn't it? 2.5-star Cheveldave. Don't know if I believe he'll be the guy to turn it around, but we do need somebody. Carlson was the ideal option, but we're going to have to go with somebody else. So I'm thinking maybe we talk to Cheveldave, although Pulaski here has a little bit more experience. It might be a little bit cheaper. I'm surprised he's performing as well as he is. Let's try for Cheveldave. If this doesn't work, then we're in a little bit of trouble here, then, aren't we? So let's take a look yet again. Hannu Toivonen. They'll never accept. Boy, apparently just trying to get rid of Hannu Toivonen isn't going to happen. It's just apparently not going to happen. And to be honest, we might have to rely on the free agent list. Even adding Florent isn't going to happen. Okay, so we're in a little bit of trouble. I don't think trading is going to work out for us here. I want to get rid of Hannu Toivonen regardless. The unfortunate thing, I want to get rid of him, but the unfortunate thing is I don't think I'm going to be able to. The big issue, of course, trade-wise, it's not working out. And free agent-wise, the last time we checked with just goaltenders, it wasn't looking all that great in terms of players that we were actually going to be able to sign. These were the only goalies available. There was a goalie with some half-decent potential, Pavlyukov. The LIU is really messing with me. While we do have a decent amount of cap space, I just don't know. I just don't know what the answer is here, unfortunately. I feel like we're a little bit stuck. I don't want to wave the flag on this season, but if we're having to rely on Toivonen, who hasn't been getting it done, I think we're pretty much trapped. So that's good, right? Nothing like feeling all hopes lost in February. I think, God, there's really not a whole hell of a lot I can do here. Really, the only other option would be to shop Toivonen and see if I get any half-decent offers. There probably wasn't a single offer for him. No, there was one offer from the Everblades. Goalie for goalie, Michael Neville. Michael Neville. Oh my God, that's not good. He does have a better save percentage than Toivonen, though. That's hilarious. He's a half-star goalie who is outperforming Hannu Toivonen this season. Michael Neville of the Florida Everblades, huh? Scouting-wise, change is not a welcome thing for him. Anything else? Not even close to being as good as Hannu Toivonen. Well, I mean, I can't get anything third stringer at best in his league. He's doing well, though. That's the problem. Oh, it's tough. It's a tough call. I don't want to get rid of Toivonen. I have to, but I can't. So, Hannu, you need to turn it around, buddy. Either you or Stevens. I may have to switch to a more defensive-first approach when it comes to the tactics of the team, and I probably will, just to try and help out the goaltending. In terms of physicality, though, let's double-check this here. In terms of physicality, how aggressive should we be? And really, I mean, the strength ratings are relatively high. About our defensive ratings, the checking. I mean, we have some play. For the most part, our players are, you know, fairly physical. It's not anybody's forte, but you know what? Let's take a slightly different approach here. And to be honest, I might go through and edit each individual line, perhaps each individual player. But I do want to be a little bit more aggressive. So let's switch to let's switch to a 1-1-2. That works. The neutral zone, rather than running the Guy Boucher trap, because let's be honest, that's not really going to work. We'll go with the 1-2-2 as well. And the defensive zone, 2-3 isn't terrible, but let's. Oh boy, let's go for strict zone. Let's go for strict zone. So we'll bump down the attacking aggression ever so slightly. The aggressiveness in general will be up. Back checking will be up. High pressure works. Hitting often. Fast tempo. And we'll see if these changes have any effect. Again, I might have to go a little bit more in depth and customize it for each individual unit. For now, let's move forward. I'll see if any trade offers come up. Really, it depends on what happens over the next few days, as we do have until March 7th. We're a month away from the deadline. There's still plenty of time. It is February 27th, 2019. Very much looking forward to the day. And we have a couple of things to cover. In the NHL, there were some minor trades that were kind of interesting. I don't know, it was a little bit weird. The thing that I wanted to point out, though, the KHL end-of-season awards have been, or at least the nominees, have been announced. And it's a nice touch, including Goaltender of the Year, with Ilya Sorokin being the only one that I recognize, actually. Defenseman of the Year, Ivan Vishnevsky, wasn't he a Ducks prospect? If he's 31, he must be. I don't know. It's kind of a cool touch. But of course, I did want to point out the standings. We are still in a playoff spot. However, by just a little bit more than you may have expected. We are on a pretty decent run of form, and the Worcester Railers have absolutely botched it. We are 11 points clear. Granted, Worcester has a game at hand. We're still 5 points back of Adirondack, but we are on pace to make the playoffs. It's pretty nice, currently being in 14th in the league. I like where we are right now. Roster-wise, it's still not perfect. We have had some slight changes as Eric Anderson and Gabe Gensel have been sent down from Hartford. So that's changed the outlook of the roster just a little bit. On the bright side, you have someone like Hannu Toivonen starting to turn it around. He's up to a .903 save percentage on the year. Stevens still at an .867, so that's a little bit rough. Obviously, we'll be running with Toivonen as much as we can, but the ever-changing roster still trying to adapt to what we're doing here. The bright side is Eric Anderson. I don't know why Hartford has his rights, but he's 36 years old, 2.5 stars, so that's a pretty nice change. Gensel at 30, a straight-up 2-star. He has 3 points for us in 12 games. We have a little bit of time to kill before I'm aware that Saint Amant was called up. Thank you. We still have a little bit of time to kill before the deadline. Okay, please, it's going to do it at least one more time, too. Or not. Okay, cool. So we still have a little bit of time to kill before we're able to move on and really just grind to the end of the season. And by that, I mean sim to the end of the season and make a nice little jump cut. But still, I'm very much torn on the idea of making a trade, but just not knowing exactly what we could possibly do. It's such a different experience right now to be stuck in the not stuck in the ECHL, but to be experiencing the ECHL at this point in time. Do we have anything interesting outside of Boo Nieves getting shoutouts for being an ECHL Player of the Month? Not bad. Not bad at all. Do we have anything else? Couple of minor league trades going down. Development report. We've seen a little bit of regression from our favorite South Korean and Justin Breton, who I didn't even know was on the roster. So that's always nice. Couple of coaches being fired. Matt Kachuk's going to be out for 4 months. Calgary, you might want to hope that doesn't happen in real life. And then, of course, again, those other minor trades that we hadn't seen anything change with. It is March 1st. And, man, one more look at the roster, I suppose. And again, here is the problem, right? Again, Hannu Toivonen is our only goalie, really, that we can do anything with. Of course, we do have Parker Cahagan here. He's down in the, essentially, semi-pro league and not doing all that well, admittedly. So I can't help but wonder. Because, again, I can't trade Colin Stevens, but if I package Toivonen and Gahagan together, bring in a better goalie, and then sign that random dude on the free agent list, that might not be the worst way to go. So let's see again if we can take a look at goaltending stats on the year. And save percentage, Jeremy Helbig. Carlson's only gotten better, too. Damn. Damn. I know he has potential, and that's why it's a little bit more difficult to trade for him. But I wonder if by some miracle this would add that much more to the trade. It doesn't look like it. Is there anybody else? Can I sacrifice my favorite South Korean? Even that's not enough. And what about Scott Savage? That's up to well balanced. Will they even counteroffer me? They'd have too many players on their contract. I don't see how I'm possibly going to be able to pull off a trade to make this team better at this point. I just don't see it. So let's take one more look at the roster. Actually, I'm going to go back to the depth chart in total. So again, with Hannu Toivonen, I don't see what we could possibly do. With Stevens, we're stuck with him because he is Hartford Whaler property. And Parker Gahagan, he's just here. And even if we shop Gahagan, there probably isn't a whole hell of a lot of interest, I would assume. Whoa, whoa, what the hell? That was really weird. There's an offer from the Everblades, Logan Rowe, who is a star and a half as a defenseman. And from the Rush, Kenton Miller, who is a star and a half. He has 19 points in 48 games. Rowe with 25 points in 34 games in the semi-pro league, which isn't all that bad, but that's nothing that really helps us out. Defensively, you can see the little bit of a log jam that we have here. Bryson Martin, of course, one of our few guys on roster. James Wisniewski, who we signed. Plant, even if... Oh, man, even if certain people get called up, I'm going to put Adam Plant on the trade block, and we'll see if we get any kind of late offers here. I'm also going to put Savage on the block, maybe even Toivonen and Gahagan. It can't hurt to set up the block this way. But, like I said, very, very doubtful that we end up getting an offer at this point. Savage, you can... Oh, you're already on the trade block. Zach Tolkien. Zach Tolkien to the block as well. And from there, Alex Adams, he's 25. You know, maybe maybe he gets us something with that 1.5 potential. Derek Pratt and Garrett Cecere, I guess it would be. Yeah, you're not going to bring us anything here, are you? Left wing wise. Oh, Trevor Fleurant. I mean, he's a local though. I can't trade him. I can't possibly trade him in all good faith, but I just don't see a way I'm going to be able to play him. So, to the trade block you go. Justin Breton as well. Screw it. Everybody to the trade block out of desperation to make something happen. Schultz has nothing for us. Craig Chase is 2.5. He's going nowhere. Stork's 2-star. He's going nowhere. McNicholas is at 1.5. Maybe he gets us something. I doubt it. Everett Clark might be able to fetch us something. And from there, congratulations. You're also joining basically everybody else on the team on the trade block. And we'll see if over the next couple of days we are able to get any late trade offers that might just help us, sort out some of the issues that we're having and try to confirm the fact that we will hopefully be a playoff team. No guarantees, of course. No guarantees as the autosave kicks in. I'm excited to see if anything happens here. Otherwise, like I said in the last episode, we are pretty much limited to making any big deals as far as anything goes, making big deals, making big signings. We're limited until next season. Trade deadline's on the 7th, of course. Colorado has claimed James Reimer off of waivers. All right, Board of Confidence. We went 9-4-1 in the last month. People are happy. That's good. Grigorenko was hurt. Is there any other interesting news aside from the Hartford Wolfpack firing their coach, which makes me wonder if anything's going to change as far as the team building approach that the Wolfpack currently take? Maybe we see certain players leave the roster and get called up. I mean, there are certainly some players that I'm surprised we still have, mainly the massive group of defensemen, and Booney Evis, I think, might be the most surprising one. We do have a trade offer. Michelle Therrien might get fired from the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins. Parker Gahagan for Sam Windle. Windle is a 1-star defenseman. That's gonna be a no from me. Thank you. Thank you. That's not what I'm looking for at all. But appreciate the attempt, I suppose. I'm kind of surprised I ended up getting a single trade offer to begin with. We have a few short days left. Once the deadline passes, we will sim directly to the end of the season. And hopefully, this episode will also be a playoff episode. I'd like that to be the case, as it's the 5th. I don't know if we have any other trade offers here in the group. I imagine it would have stopped the sim if those 2 emails were trade offers. And I think the roster we have is going to be the roster that we stick with. We play Norfolk and get a 2-0 win. That brings us to deadline day. I do believe Worcester got killed 5-2 as well, which is huge. And Vinny Pedri has been called up. There have been a couple of moves. It is deadline day. Again, Vinny Pedri has been called up, so that's going to be a big loss for the team. Nikita Soshnikov's got some stuff going on. And aside from that, we're good. So let's take a look here. Again, I can't help but think that the roster is locked as it is. Clayson O'Gara Gilmore. 5 of our top 7 defensemen are all players that have been sent down to the team. Let's see what they can do. I will see you guys at the end of the season. Of course, we're not that far away. And if I take a look at the events list, if I can remember to click the right one, maybe. If I click the old events list. April 10th, the start of the playoffs. I'll probably see you guys on April 1st. April 10th. 2019, the regular season has come to a close, and while we couldn't make up ground on Newfoundland or Manchester or Adirondack, we are playoff bound. 83 points in this season, finishing a nice 13 points ahead of Worcester, finishing 4th in the Eastern Conference, or finishing 4th in the Eastern Conference North Division, and finishing 6th in the Eastern Conference in general. So a decent accomplishment to make the playoffs in our very first season, even if we're not exactly the favorites. And of course, with all the changes that we had time and time again with the roster, I'm a little bit surprised. That said, we have a couple of things to get to, including some award nominees. Now, we do not have a nominee for the John Brophy Award, the Sportsmanship Award. Nobody there. GM of the Year, I feel disrespected. The John A. Daly Award, no nominees. Defenseman of the Year, nobody. What about the Goaltender of the Year? We knew about that one, didn't we? And the Most Valuable Player, Booney Evis. There we go. We finally have someone make a bit of an impact. The NHL award nominees are out as well. Jack Adams, John Tortorella, Mike Babcock, and Rick Tocchet in Arizona. Ted Lindsay, Connor McDavid, Kucherov, and Sidney Crosby. Messier Leadership Award, Ovi, Eichel, and Justin Williams. Lady Byng will be either Barkov, McDavid, or Tavares. The Selke to either Barkov, Taves, or Koivu. Executive of the Year would be Jarmo Kekalainen, John Chayka, or Peter Chiarelli. Good luck with that. Calder winner will either be Svechnikov, Kachuk, or Pedersen. The Norris winner will be either Burns, McDonough, or Suter. The Vezina nominees, Hellebuck, Jones, and Bobrovsky, who did re-sign with Columbus, by the way. And the Hart will be either McDavid, Kucherov, or Crosby. Of course, there are some KHL awards that have been handed out as well, as it has outright been won. God, Yekaterinburg, I believe it is, beat SKA St. Petersburg, which is crazy. So, my question, who the hell are we going to take on in the playoffs? Because we are indeed playoff bound. It will be the 3rd seed Florida Everblades. They have home ice advantage, as you would expect. Anton Lander's going to be a free agent. I'm intrigued to see who else makes it to the free agent list, but we are good to go. So the roster right now, as per usual, still set up mostly of players that were sent down to us. The top line right now is Lidal and the Evashants, which is fine. And overall, we're looking okay. I mean, that third line, there are some weak ratings there, but there's not really a whole hell of a lot we can do. Alex Kyle, I mean, yeah, a 9's his best rating, so he might as well be a playmaker. It's at least his best fit. We could optimize what he's doing individually, but for right now, I feel okay about the way the AI set up this roster, considering we can't put our own spin on it. In terms of the goaltending, I mean, Stevens finished with an 8.79, Toivonen with a 9.03, so I plan on having Hannu Toivonen be our starting goaltender. And as far as information is concerned with how we did this year, I could look at the NHL stuff. I'll mainly look at the ECHL stuff, though. Dawson Lidl was nearly point a game. I'm surprised he didn't get more of a shout over Booney Evis. Chase also had a good season. Gilmore, 53 points in 60 games as a defenseman, which is absolutely ridiculous. And when we look at the goalie stats as well, I mean, you would have already seen the save percentages and everything, but yeah, very, very disappointed by the state of our goaltenders. And when it comes to the stats around the league, let's take a look, although we've already seen some of the names that are up there for award nominations, so I imagine we'll see some familiar faces. Sam Anas led the league in goals. Points was also Anas. Any other interesting ones? 204. Hey, Rob O'Gara. Look at that. 204 block shots. We had something go for us. We had something go right for us. So, let's get down to business, shall we? We will be taking on Florida here in the playoffs. Our lineup is set unless someone's been called up. Oh, you cannot. You cannot take Booney Evis away from me just before the playoffs begin. Oh my God. Now we do get Drew Melanson, St. Amant's back, Gensel, and Merrick. Ooh, okay. Merrick Mazanich gets sent down. That could be exactly what the doctor ordered. We lose We lose Bunievis, but we do pick up a goaltender. Of course, in real life, he has recently been dealt. Ooh, 3-star. Wonderful. So we lose a half-decent forward, but pick up a very interesting goaltender. Hanu, unfortunately, outright sent down. We have no other choice. Defensively, I mean, we still have pretty much everybody that we would want. I could send down Adam Plant and call up a forward, and to be honest, I'm probably going to do that. We have no choice but to carry 7 defensemen. Let's call up probably Everett Clark for the sake of having another center on the roster. So let's take a look at what the team would be. If I go with the create lines option, it doesn't even run Clark, which is brutal. So I'm gonna have to change that. Let's go ahead and dress Clark and have Salvaggio be replaced with Clark. Quick and easy, and we'll take him out of the lineup. Beautiful. Is Clark set up best as a playmaker? That is his highest individual grade, so we'll be okay with that. So it's going to be Lidl, Chase, and St. Amant, Florent, Stork, and Chance, Kyle Clark, and Adams Moisan. It's not too bad, although if I go create lines, I don't know why it's not automatically dressing Mazanich. That's kind of weird, but I'll go ahead and do that. Put him there. He is going to be our starter. No questions asked. The defensive core is still looking really good, though. Clayson, Gilmore, Pedri, Wisniewski, O'Gara, Martin. That could be an AHL-level defense, so that's a pretty promising sight for us, I gotta admit. I'm feeling okay about our chances. Let's take a look at the Everblades, actually. Oh, do I want to scroll all the way up this way? There's a faster way to do this, I'm quite sure. But let's take a look. I can also look at their lineup as we just load into the series, but that's okay. They are led by Greg McKegg, who should probably, UCHL talent, sounds about right. Justin Auger, Gilmore, Kirkpatrick, and of course Jeremy Helvig, who had a very strong season. Would have been nice to try and acquire him. The leading point getter, Kirkpatrick, 60 points in 47 games. Damn. All right, don't underestimate him, is what I've learned today. This is going to be an interesting one here. Now, in terms of their team setup, I would imagine I'm still allowed to look at what they do. Still mainly balanced, so I could, of course, set up the team to, or our team to have the complete, perfect counterbalance to what they're doing there. And I might, but for now, let's get down to it. We have ourselves a playoff game to get to. I can get rid of that. It's a shame Bunievis won't be a part of it. So let's do this. Their lineup again, exactly what we just looked at. I'd say we easily have the advantage defensively. Just what kind of goaltending are we going to get? Again, out of Marek Mazanich. I believe it's Mazanich. It's not Mazanik, I do not believe. Regardless, he is the guy for us here. His first start in the ECHL. It's a playoff game against the Florida Everblades on the road. We are going to quick sim this 3-2-1, and we lose 4-3 in overtime. Unfortunate. Unfortunately for us. So it was. Dawson Lidl getting the opening goal. Sam Piazza tied it. Vinny Pedri made it 2-1. No goals in the second period, and then down to the third period, Wisniewski gave us a 3-1 lead. We blew it. Dennis Robertson and Justin Auger with the goal, and in overtime, Auger scores again. So that is rough. 42 shots to 29. 34 penalty minutes. Good Lord. It looked like we had a pretty solid chance to make something happen there. We absolutely blew that game, and it's a damn shame. I am well aware that Bunievis was called up. Thank you very much, game. I am well aware that Mazanich is on roster. It's a shame that it does that, but it's one of the few complaints that I have. So, not all that upset about it. South Carolina was leading their series. Didn't get to take too much of a look at it. We will go ahead and sim to this next day. Blowing a 3-1 lead and losing 4-3 in overtime. Not the way that I wanted to start this series off. But let's see what we can do in Game 2. Of course, coach is being fired. Is that Mike Yeo signing for the San Antonio Rampage? It is. Mike Yeo back in the AHL. Let's see what we can do here. Game 2 against Florida. I am absolutely going to start Mazanec again. And we'll see what happens here, although he struggled. I mean, we blew a 3-1 lead. Not too impressed. Quick simming again. Let's see if we can get back into this series. 3-2-1. It's a 3-2 regulation loss. 33 saves was not enough. They outshot us 36-19. We took more penalty minutes, and it cost us. Again, we scored the opening goal. Luke Stork on the power play, but from there, a 2-0 measure in the second period. Cox and Watala. We got to go back with Lidl, but it was too little, too late. And that's a rough way to go. Everett Clark ended up getting into a fight with Clark Seymour. And the Florida Everblades have a 2-0 series lead. Not ideal, not what I was hoping for, yet here we are. As again, you see some of the other series. It is best of 7 at this point, so keep that in mind. We're not out of it. We got a long way to go, but it would be nice to get this win. On the flip side, if we lose, hey, we'll be able to put our own spin on this team sooner rather than later. Regardless, playoff hockey back in Portland. That sounds like a lovely, lovely thing. Colin Stevens, you're going to be given the opportunity. You're going to be given the opportunity to make something happen. Let's do this. Can you lead us to victory? Kick Brad Ralph. You don't even sound real. 3, 2, 1. We lose 3-1 and are in danger of being swept. 30 shots. They had 32. 3-1 is your final, as we are just not getting it done at all. Not at all. We were down 3-0 in this game. We got the lone goal of the third period. It was Dawson Lidl. The goaltending isn't there. The goal scoring itself isn't there. And we are going to come up short in this series. One has to wonder about the tactics. However, I don't think we have the roster to win in Season 1 anyway. So I'm not too worried about, setting up the tactics and making sure that we have the best opportunity to win. I don't think we have the squad to do it. It needs a little bit of work. We need to get to free agency where I can spend a little bit of money and then hope to God the Rangers, or the Hartford Wolfpack for that matter, get rid of some of these weaker players. I'm talking about Salvaggio being like a 1-star, half-star talent right now, even though in real life he's not doing that bad from what I remember. But still, it's going to be at least another season before I'm confident that we could potentially win the Kelly Cup and accomplish our goal, even if it is somewhat early. So let's go with Mazanec back in the pipes, and we'll see what we can do. Are we going to be swept by the Everblades? Yes, we are. We lose 7-6. I said all season long that goaltending was a problem, and unfortunately, 3-star America Mazanec was not much help. 39 shots to 35, 7-6. We had a 2-0 lead. The end of the first period and absolutely collapsed. A 7-goal third period combined. And unfortunately, our season is over. I was excited for us to be in the playoffs, and we end up getting swept by the Everblades. That is rough. Very, very rough. And I guess I will talk to you guys before we end things here. I'll talk to you guys at the end of the playoffs, and we'll take a look at what went down, but we are out of it. Now, on the bright side to our playoff elimination, one of my favorite features of this game has arrived, for lack of a better term, where we get to select one person to be a Hall of Fame nominee. So these are the nominees thus far that will eventually be voted on, featuring the likes of Pierre Turgeon, Jeremy Roenick, Bernie Nichols. You can read the full list, but it's this list right here where we are going to be allowed to nominate one player to join that list and potentially make it into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And I mean, my God, how do I choose? How do I choose between some of these players? It is ridiculous. Keith Tkachuk, 1,065 career points, over 2,200 penalty minutes, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, between Tkachuk, Whitney Verbeek, Teppo Numminen, Glenn Wesley, Steve Larmer, Patrick Elias, I'm gonna have to go. Do I go with my favorite player, or do I go with who I think would truly deserve it the most out of this group? I'm surprised Ray Whitney's up there. I mean, 1,400 points, man, underrated. Underrated in that regard. 1,400 points? I didn't even realize. Local popularity, living legend. Damn right. I didn't realize he had that many points. That's insane. He was relatively ahead of Tkachuk. That is impressive. That is impressive. Although, that said, okay. Select the player you want to nominate. It's between two, if I had to pick my favorite. Glenn Wesley or Patrick Elias. And Elias is just now eligible. I gotta go with Glenn Wesley. I gotta try and get Bruins legend, Whalers legend, Glenn Wesley into the Hall of Fame. Will he make it? Probably not. Another quick update here, as the result of the Memorial Cup is in Drummondville. Drummondville wins the Memorial Cup over the Medicine Hat Tigers. There you go. Rodrigue, Max Comtois, Joe Valeno, Nick Baudin. It's actually not that bad of a team. All things considered, Drummondville takes home the Memorial Cup. There were some other moves as well. I don't know, there's been a lot to keep track of. I probably have a little bit too much news to keep track of, although I do want to point out, not only has Frederick Claesson rejoined the team, there was someone else who was sent down who would have been, relatively nice to have seen. Can I go back to the home screen here? Thank you. It would have been relatively nice to see them on the roster during the season. Dustin Tokarski, maybe even Brandon Halverson. Would have been nice to have either of them on the team in the regular season. I'd kind of like to see this happen in real life. The Arizona Coyotes have won the Stanley Cup, defeating the Tampa Bay Lightning. How ridiculous. Connor McDavid has won the Hart Trophy. You have Victor Hedman taking home the Conn Smythe. The San Jose Sharks, or the Vezina winner, I was going to say Martin Jones. There you go. Norris goes to Brent Burns. Svechnikov wins the Calder. John Chayka, Executive of the Year. The Selke to Mikko Koivu. You have Kucherov taking home the Rocket Richard. Taylor Hall with the Art Ross. Not too shabby at all. Matt Cullen wins the Masterton. And Connor McDavid with the 10 Lindsay as well. Jack Adams to John Tortorella. You have the list of All-Stars and the rookie team, including Anthony Stolars, who ended up with the Leafs. So there you go, the little update on what's gone down this season. In the next episode, because I think we're good to go, right? I mean, in the next episode, we see what we can do in the offseason. How much of a spin, if any, can we put on this team? I mean, with the contract situation that we have, it's going to be very interesting to see just how this goes down, because obviously we have nobody signed heading into next year. So this roster is going to change quite a bit. I think we'll be starting off the next episode with contract negotiations and hopefully letting a decent amount of players go. And again, hopefully, please, for the love of God, between New York and Hartford, step your game up. I need a little bit more help. Thank you guys for watching. Again, still trying to figure out exactly how I want to format this between, simming a season through every 2 or 3 episodes. Trying to figure it out. We'll get there. We're working on it. I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a good one. We made the playoffs and then absolutely blew it. And for the record, the Kelly Cup Final's not over yet, but Florida's up 3-2 on the Wheeling Nailers.